I'm sewing the cantle here on Sage's Wade saddle. Got a CS Osborne all haft, and I'm about 1/3 of the way across. Been sewing for over an hour now, and the main trick here on this cigar roll type cantle is to get it to come out where the stitching looks straight in the back. What I do is imprint a line, use my calipers, and scribe a light line, and then I come back and make the line a little bit heavier, and then I come back in there with a pencil and darken my line so I can, when I punch my hole all the way through the cantle, I set it on there. And try to get it to come right out in the middle of the line, and that pencil mark really helps to be able to see that. I'll take a stitch here and show you how I do this. Okay, I'm coming up from the back side. I'll pull my thread and leave a loop right here at the back. Now I'm going to take this is the CS Osborne sewing needle also. When I push that needle through there, I'm pulling back the thread so I won't run through the thread. Sometimes if you're not careful, you will run the needle through your thread, and when you pull it up, it snags it, and we don't want that to happen. Okay. I came up from the back side. Now I'm going to push my needle through like that. Get a pair of needle nose pliers and pull that through. And I got my hammer handy over there. I like to put a little twist on this thread right before I pull it down, and that makes it look neat. It's a good deal to tap that down. I'll show you the sewing thread I'm using. It's actually called nylon lacing tape. It's made by Breydon, B-R-E-Y-D-E-N. Breydon wax. It's part number 7MC-B, Columbia City, Indiana. Breydon Products Incorporated. I purchased this from Hadlock and Fox Saddlemakers Supply, and that will last quite a while. You can hand sew a lot of things with that. It's actually going to take me about 2 threads. I'll get another probably 4 or 5 inches, and then I'll have to make another thread. You can do this all with 1 thread, but it sure is long. And this is the way I'm going to do it this time. Okay, I'll punch another hole here. After you get started, get going, you'll develop a feel of the angle to punch your hole. And a lot of times you can get it to come out just where you want it in the back. Okay, I'll pull that up snug, top and bottom. See, I've got those tacks. That's what holds the strip on there till it dries. Actually, I had tacks in between. That's what those darker holes are. And I pulled those out. Now I pull each tack out as I get closer to it. On the back side, I'll give you an idea of what that looks like. See, there's what I'm talking about. Maybe you can see where I lightly penciled that in. And then I'll come back and trim the excess off with a Leathercraft knife, the one with the curved stub. get a fresh one that's really sharp. It's got a sharp tip on it. And I'll cut that off at a slight angle. The sewing thread is nylon lacing tape. It's got a heavy wax on it, and I twist that so it pulls down nicely. I like to use harness awls made by C.S. Osborne. They're the number 517 in the length. I use C.S. Osborne harness awl and haft also. Here's a picture of the back of the cantle after I trimmed it off and the saddle's completed. And just take your time and try to sew as straight as you possibly can, and I hope these tips help you with your hand sewing and stitching. You're welcome to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I would appreciate a thumbs up. Thank you very much.